You just said something there, and I'm just curious because there's a pattern here I'm seeing, as you do dive in and take charge in these things. But you mentioned that you were like the top, person when it came to, I assume, was that a sales role? Was that, what kind of a role was
100%. And this is something that most people don't understand. Tony is a sales guy. He always was, always has been, always will be. And that's the one thing that he respects more than anything else. And this is at the beginning of my kind of career with him, learning how to speak and learning how to say, he says, at the end of the day, he uses lots of cuss words, of course. And he would say, I don't effing care if you're the best. Because he saw me speak one time. And because otherwise, if we were in the same town, I wasn't doing my job. Like, it's like high five at the backstage of UPW, and then I'm off to the next city and I'm on. If we're in the same city, I'm not doing a good job. So I got to be in LA when he's in California or Florida or whatever, right?
Yeah.
He saw a recording of me speak one time, and he was there, and he said, "You're a really amazing speaker." But he kind of said it in like this way that it's like, it was kind of an insult. And I'm like,
but
okay, yeah. Like, what was it? And he was like, I don't want everyone to stand up and clap for you at the end. If they clap for you, you're wasting all of our effing time. You're wasting my effing time, and you will never be effing good at this.
Interesting.
He was like, your job is to get them to take action. And if you can get them in front of me at UPW, you know that they've taken the step to transform their life. Because what ends up happening is some guy comes to their office, their real estate company, their mortgage company, their insurance company, their title company, their big conference, big convention. They stand up and they clap and they go back and live the same effing life that they came in with. And you did not. I didn't change. He said, I didn't hire you to be this way. I hired you to change effing lives.
Huh.
And so for him, and I adopted this mentality too after a while. Like, I really got it, because it wasn't about, and for him too, he's an interesting character, because it didn't matter if they bought a Tony Robbins ticket at the end of the workshop. It mattered that they did something. And he didn't care. He was like, listen, I don't care if they buy a ticket or not. What I care about is that they take out the credit card, they commit to some sort of goal that they have. If that means they sign up for the gym by the time you're done speaking, that's what I want. I don't care what it is. The guy has 300 companies, $9 billion a year. What's a Tony Robbins ticket to him? He doesn't give a damn,
Yeah, but that's still pretty amazing that it's the idea still of transformation, to this degree, like taking action. So.
That was it. And it's everything that he teaches is take action. When you're in the moment of a decision, you have to do something towards achieving that goal. Otherwise, we just go back to living our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one that instilled, not him directly, obviously, his content, instilled the idea of massive action in me. And every time I'm in a situation where I feel like I need to do something, I just hear Tony in my head saying, take massive action. It gets me going. It's a trigger.
So Steven, I'm curious though, because it sounds like, based on that feedback, if we want to call it, that it was, that then meant that you had to adjust and technically up your sales game, even though your sales wasn't bad, but to that point, it was almost, you were moving people, but not necessarily moving them the other direction. So what did you do? How did you tweak that? What did you change?
I was definitely middle of the pack when I first started speaking, and, I didn't have any support. I was out on my own. I mean, and really that entire company was designed trial by fire. Right. So they would set you in a city just randomly. We would, hey, we got to promote the Los Angeles event. So everyone just pick a city in in California, and you're going there for the next 2-3 months and sell as many tickets as you can, talk to as many people as you can, just make it happen before I get there. And so what was interesting, it was like starting a business over every couple of months. Because now I'm in a random city and I don't know anybody. And I was doing everything I could, door knocking and talking to people, booking my own meetings and running around. And, it's so awkward to be like, I'm, knock on the door of a Coldwell Banker office and just to insult these guys because I'm here and it's fun. Coldwell Bankers where real estate agents go to die. So I'm going to go knock on the door and I'm like, hey, I'm the top Tony Robbins speaker. You know what Tony Robbins is? I'm going to come in and change your life. And they're like, okay, kid, why are you in New Haven, Connecticut? Like, well, I'm here to change lives. I don't care. So To answer your question, what I did have to get really good at was influence more than anything else. And Tony calls it leadership. Leadership is influence.
Hmm.
And the first person you got to learn how to influence is who? Yourself,
right?
And for me to be able to get my ass up, shower, shave, put the suit and tie on, go out there and be excited for number 5 that day, where because at one point I was speaking 3, 4, 5 times per day, and I was sleeping a couple hours a night. I was on the road for 8 years for 365 days out of the year. And a lot of people are like, I want to do what you do. I'm like, no, you don't.
Right? Yeah, good. The Hollywood version again.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And they just saw me speak. I want to be like you. And I'm like, no, you need to hit the sales. You need to change lives. You need to make this happen. And to actually make an impact on the world, influence was a big game. So I had to learn how to sell from the front of the room.
Interesting. And then did you learn that through, ironically, I know Tony Robbins has an influence program, but how did you actually do that? Was it just the more practice you put in, the better you got, small tweaks, or did you turn to something specific?
Yeah. So there was a couple of speakers that came before me that were really good at it. There's a gentleman named Eli Wilhide. Eli Wild is what he goes by online. He still teaches, coaches sales. He was by far the number one Tony salesman probably of all time. He did coach me when I came in, and he kind of saw how I was treated a little bit, and he took a little pity on me. And he was like, all right, let me show you some of these ropes. And one thing that was really fascinating was what he would teach me is identity selling. Because realistically, you're trying to bridge the gap from where they are to where they want to be. And a lot of that has to do with who would you have to be in order to make the decisions to become that person. So someone who's in great shape, they're not in great shape because one day they go to the gym one time. It's because of their consistent habitual patterns and habits and things that they do every single day. It's the micro decisions that they make in that moment. Mm-hmm. So things that we would often do, and it might even sound a little manipulative at points, but it really wasn't about manipulation. It was about how do you get their best self to show up in that moment? Because you guys have experienced Unleash Power Within. You're dancing, you're yelling, you're screaming, you just storm through fire. You make very dramatic, different decisions right after you storm through fire than if you're sitting there at your, at your desk in your cubicle and like you just got yelled at by your boss once again and rent's due and everything. You make dramatically different decisions. So the idea of identity selling is like, who are you when you're at your best, and what decision would they make?
Interesting. That is pretty powerful when you think about it.
I really like that.
And is it safe to say then that's probably that alone? Is that a core piece of what you've taken as you've helped others afterwards, that they make that mistake in their business? Or would you say that was more to your own particular situation?
It's hard to give it any one thing. It's never one big thing, right? It's always stacked reasons. Mm-hmm. So one strategy stacked on top of another thing, stacked on top of another thing. And for me, I'm so goofy. I would use a lot of humor and break up the tension and stuff like this. But what I had to learn was how to bridge that gap between me and another person. And at the beginning, I thought, like many speakers think, they're going to get on stage and they're going to tell their story about how hard it was for them and how difficult it was and what they overcame. And because I overcame this, you can overcome this too. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. Yeah. That has never moved anybody ever anywhere.